Hey, Tennis Abides readers and viewers. This is Dan Martin here. And as we talk about, last video I posted was about the 1988 Men's U.S. Open. Today we'll do one on the 1988 Women's U.S. Open, which I think was the far more important of the two events that year, mainly because Steffi Graf completed the calendar year Grand Slam for the first time since Margaret Court and Rod Laver did it at the very beginning of the Open era. Steffi Graf dominated tennis in '87, but there was a little bit of a dispute about whether she was really number one. She only lost 2 matches that year, but the 2 matches she lost were to Martina Navratilova in the Wimbledon and U.S. Open finals. She beat Navratilova in the French Open final, did not play the Australian Open, so she had Steffi won Key Biscayne. She won the season-ending title. She won everything else she played, but she entered 1988 with a bit of a question mark. The computer said she was number one, but those 2 matches, and she lost both of them in straight sets, left a question mark as to is she really number one. 1980 definitive yes. Okay. In '86, she almost beat Navratilova in the '86 U.S. Open semifinal. That really announced that she wasn't just in the top 5, top 10, but she was here to stay, and then won that French Open. But, you know, Martina, being a great champion, took it to her in those 2 other majors in '87 that they met in the final. '88, Steffi won the Australian Open. She beat Chris Evert in the final, who upset Martina Navratilova in the semis. And that could have been a great chance for Martina to win 3 straight majors of her own and say, hey, I am number one. But Steffi picked up her second major. And then suddenly in the last 52 weeks, she's not only number one in the computer, she's got 2 majors. Martina's got 2 majors. French Open, Steffi wins the final 6-0, 6-0 against a young woman, Natalia Zvereva, who was the number 1 junior player in the world in 1987. She comes on to the Pro Tour in '88, beat Navratilova at the French Open, reaches the French Open final, only to be beaten in under an hour and not win a single game. Again, Steffi now has won 3 of the last 5 majors, but she hadn't beaten Navratilova yet. They meet in the '88 Wimbledon final. Steffi's up a break in the first set. Navratilova breaks back, breaks again, wins the first set, breaks early in the second. It looks like she's going to straight set her again, and this controversy will continue. And then Steffi wins 12 of the next 13 games to take her first of, I believe, 7 Wimbledon finals, 7 Wimbledon titles, not finals. Steffi beats Martina Navratilova 5-7, 6-2, 6-1. And she was down 2-0 or 2-1 in the second set. And like I said, won like 11 of the next 12 or 12 of the next 13 games. It was an incredible sight. And that really cemented her as number one. She's won 3 straight majors. But then the big question becomes, can she win the Grand Slam in the calendar year? And that has only happened once in my lifetime. Now, I think any non-calendar Grand Slam on the men's or women's side, whether we're looking at the Serena Slams, which happened twice, or we look at Martina Navratilova, who won 6 straight majors, or we look at Novak Djokovic winning 4 straight majors, or Steffi even winning the 1989 Australian, still was the champion at all 4. To me, that's really the same thing as winning it in a calendar year. But it hadn't happened in a long time. And it hasn't happened since on the calendar year front. So Steffi enters the U.S. Open. All eyes are on her, all the pressure, all the history's on her. And it's an Olympic year, so people are even already starting to speculate. Is she going to win the U.S. Open and then go to Seoul and win the gold medal there, which she actually, she did. And she won a bronze in doubles as well. And I believe she won the '88 Wimbledon doubles title. So she picked up 4 singles Grand Slams, a gold medal in singles, as well as a bronze medal in doubles and a Wimbledon doubles title in '88. It was an incredible year. The tournament, Steffi pretty much, she was always, especially at this phase of her career, she's just down to business, beating people, moving through the draw. The interesting thing was that Zina Garrison knocked out Martina Navratilova. Zina being another serve and volley player. Martina probably had the best chance at beating Steffi. She had beaten her at the '86 and '87 U.S. Opens, even though the Wimbledon match they had just played wasn't all that competitive. Once Steffi got her teeth into it, she was up a set and a break in that match on her best surface. So if anyone was going to stop her, it would be a combination of my toughest opponent, that lefty serve into Steffi's one-handed chip return, serving and volleying, attacking the net, and then the pressure of history. That's kind of what a lot of people were expecting. Zina Garrison knocked Martina out. Gabriella Sabatini, who was Steffi's doubles partner and also a frequent opponent in the finals or semifinals of many tournaments that Steffi played in 87, 88, 89, etc. Gabriella Sabatini was probably the ideal opponent for that pressure situation because she knew her very well. They had grown up together. She knew Gabriella Sabatini could beat her, but it wasn't a situation where you're going to see that as a likely outcome. And Steffi wins the match 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, takes the, I believe those are the scores. If they're wrong, I apologize. I'm digging through my memory banks here, and I'm not Wikipedia, unfortunately, when it comes to accuracy on numbers like that. But Steffi wins the calendar year Grand Slam, and she caps off what is easily, to my mind, the most decorated single year any player has had in my lifetime. Like I mentioned, she ends up winning the gold medal in Seoul, a bronze medal in Seoul as well, won the Wimbledon doubles title. Doubles with the bronze and then the Wimbledon doubles title, those matter to some degree, I think. I think doubles used to matter a lot more when prize money was lower and the top players were playing singles and doubles to try to make, more money. But, to go through and beat Chris Evert, who's an all-time great, but past her prime in the Australian Open final, then to beat the previous year's #1 junior, then to beat the greatest Wimbledon, singles player of all time, maybe, and Martina Navratilova has 9 Wimbledon singles titles to go along with a handful of runner-up finishes, and then she beat Sabatini in the gold medal match as well. I think that time it was in straight sets. But then to beat her #1 rival that was the same age and turned pro around the same time was kind of like, she's going to be your testing ground. Of course, Monica Seles really replaces Gabriella Sabatini as that great rival for Steffi that's in her age range. But to do that and to do it in such a manner where she really looked impervious in almost every match. I mean, when you look at Steffi Graf's career, and I'm going to end in about 40 seconds here, from about 1987 to 96, she pretty much made the semifinals or better of almost every Grand Slam tournament. I mean, it was rare if she would lose in a quarter. I think she lost to Jana Novotná in a Australian Open quarterfinal in 1991 or something like that. But she was almost always in, at worst, a Final Four at the majors. To do that for a decade, she won 21 majors of her 22 between June of 1987 and then September of 1996 when she won that U.S. Open. So to win 21 majors in a 10-year period means she's winning half the majors that are held. And that just is an incredible level of consistency. That standard of excellence was amazing. I think Serena Williams is the only player whose career in singles has surpassed Steffi Graf. In doubles, if you're going to include doubles, Martina as well as Serena are way out in front of Steffi in doubles. But in terms of just singles excellence, she's pretty much #2 of all time at worst. I think Serena is #1 in the singles arena. But, that 1988, the Golden Slam, it doesn't happen without any of those individual 4 slams or the gold medal. But to win the 4th slam, that's really very difficult. I think the pressure mounts. So Steffi, absolutely incredible, great run, great consistency, held her nerve, and just kept beating whoever was in front of her in the draw. And she did that pretty much from the start of 87 through the end of the 89 season. She was just unbelievably good at beating whoever you put in front of her. And then Seles in 90, it starts to get a little bit tougher for Steffi.